I went to my TA asking questions on a book, and he said, let's talk about it over coffee.
Right.
Red flag came up. I didn't know if I was supposed to be meeting a TA in that setting, but you don't.
Wait a minute, what's this let's talk about it over coffee? And no TA ever said that to me when I was in school, let's talk about it over coffee. What's that about?
When you're learning British literature, it's not something
You need to have coffee? Don't they drink tea?
It could be anywhere, but it's a discussion, so it's not something you can have in a hallway.
Right.
You know
So
what I mean?
when she came to you and said, I need to talk about this, where were you?
It was right after class. Everyone was
Okay.
dispersing out of the class, and she
Okay.
approached me immediately, wanted help with this book.
Okay.
And that in itself is, in my opinion, a red flag as well, because it was rather immediate. And I don't know, there was a sense of...
Wait. What was a red flag to you?
Because, Your Honor, sometimes within being a teaching assistant, you have to assume that someone's going to try to develop a relationship, basically to get better grades. That's basically the sense that I got
Wait a
from her.
second, what's your role, dear? What's your role?
A teaching assistant.
To help students, though, right?
Yeah, to help them.
So the
yeah.
moment I say, Mr.
Brodus.
Brodus, I need some help, a red flag goes up that I want to get into your pants to get a good grade?
Well, when you do it for 2 years, you get to see whose intentions are good and whose are bad, Your Honor.
So when she came up to you with her pretty self, and she came up to you and said that, you thought what?
Basically, I thought that she might have had feelings or interested. Maybe not feelings, but I thought that there might have been an interest.
So feeling that she might have had some feelings or interest, you say, let's talk about it over coffee?
It's not uncommon within the educational system. Your
Okay,
Honor.
so then what happened?
So basically, we discussed the book.
Well, did we have coffee?
Yeah, we had coffee.
We went out for coffee.
And we discussed the novel because she was rather, I guess, just a little stressed about it because it's difficult material, of course, and especially for, first day in
So
class.
it turns out she really did need some help?
Of course, yeah, and I helped her with it. And throughout the
Okay.
process, basically, I helped her prepare for the exam.
Okay.
And it was, she ended up getting a B- on it. And throughout the process, you could tell that it was much needed. It was a great sort of working relationship. Obviously, things came of it.
So what happened? Why the sexual harassment? He helped you. You got to be out of it. So what's the problem?
So what Mr. Brodus is leaving out is after coffee, he invited me to dinner. And that was a red flag for me.
Right.
And also, this happened on the first day of class. So I don't know why he thought I was trying to start a relationship on the first day of class.
Well, on the first day of class, I wouldn't be asking for help already. I don't know if I need help on the first day of class. I probably wouldn't even have had the book on the first day of class. You haven't even opened the book on the first day of class, have you?
Oh, we were supposed to read a few chapters in advance.
Oh, by the first day. Okay, so you have coffee with him and he says, let's have dinner?
Yes, and red flags everywhere went up.
Everybody's saying red flags, but we just all keep going.
That's true, yeah.
Okay, so a red flag, but yes, let's have dinner.
He assured me that it would be casual, we could talk more about the book, and I really
Wait, did you say, wait a minute, I have a red flag and I'm concerned?
Yes, I did say no at first. That's when he said, it'll be casual, I just want to talk to you about the book.
Is this true?
Yeah, I said it would be casual, of course.
Okay. And why did you suggest dinner? Because I know that ain't regular.
Your Honor, because I liked her. I'm going to be straight up.
Okay, so now we like her. You liked her from the beginning when you said, let's have coffee, okay? Because it's all the same day, right? So we had dinner, and then what?
So at dinner, we had really good conversation, and...
Were you liking him?
You know what? It was a few days later, and so he's young and attractive, so I wasn't
you found him attractive?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was only trying to do, the whole school thing.
Right.
And
did you have a boyfriend at the time?
No.
Okay.
And so we started hanging out more often, and we developed a relationship, and we started seriously dating.
So why did you start dating him so seriously?
He seemed like a great guy,
So you liked him?
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. Are we still in the class?
Yes.
And do we go out on dates now during this class? We go out on dates? You agree? Yes? Do we buy each other gifts or anything? Little cards?
Yeah, it's a
Cute
relationship
little text
in
message,
every...
missing you, boo, that kind of
sense
thing?
Of the word, yes.
A lot of that going on? Did you meet anybody's parents? Anybody meet anybody?
That was actually the kicker. Mr. Brodus said that he wanted to take me to his family, introduce them. Things were getting a lot more serious than I had envisioned, and I talked to my friends about it. It's my senior year. I want to not be tied down. I want to have fun, and I probably a little over my head, with this TA relationship, and so I decided to break it off with my TA.
What happened? Wait,
Your Honor,
what?
She broke up with me because of her friends. I told her, I wanted her to come.
How long were you dating?
We were dating pretty much first few weeks of the semester, going in to the last few weeks before the final.
Okay, so how long is that? 2, 3 months? 2 months?
Yeah, probably 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And I wanted to introduce her to my parents, bring her to my hometown, and immediately had a conversation with her friends and just dropped me like that, out of nowhere.
Wow, like a hot potato.
Maybe she was struggling in her class, and honestly, that's normal. Everyone struggles at some point. But the real issue here is not just that she dated her TA, even though that already creates a problem. The bigger issue is the timing and the situation overall. When you mix a personal relationship with someone who has authority over your grades, things can get complicated very quickly. From what it sounds like, she liked him and there was some mutual interest, but at the same time, he was in a position of power, and that should have never turned into a relationship during the course. That's a clear conflict of interest. Anyone in that role, TA coach or instructor, that should be keep boundaries until the class is completely over. Otherwise, it opens the door to chaos, unfair treatment, and situations exactly like this. At the same time, expecting special treatment after the relationship ends does not really make sense either. Once that dynamic changes, things go back to the normal, and grades should be based on the performance. So overall, it's a messy situation on both sides. I'm curious, do you agree with this or do you see it differently? Let me know in the comments.
Seems like there's still some feelings going on. What do you say?
I say I'm bringing my ex-TA to court because I feel like that he should pay for what he did to me.
What did he do?
You have a midterm, a final, and a final paper. The midterm and the final are graded by the teacher. The paper is graded by the TA. And so I had broken up with him before the final and the final paper.
Okay, but so what were your grades going into that?
Okay, midterm I got a B minus.
Okay.
And so that's when I broke up with him, after the midterm.
And then he graded your final?
He graded my final paper.
And what'd you get?
I got a D.
Okay.
I needed a D plus to pass the course, and now I'm having to retake the class.
Where is the sexual harassment?
I feel like he manipulated me.
How did he manipulate you?
Because as soon as the relationship went out of his favor, he started using his TA authority.
Right. You should have thought about that before you started sleeping with him.
That's true, but I argue that he should have too.
What? He should have. But he didn't bring a lawsuit against you. You brought a lawsuit.
That's true.
And the point is, it was your grade because he was never going to get anything out of it but you, I guess.
But he assured me that he had told the teacher about our relationship before we started dating, and I've come to find out that's a lie.
Right. Why did she get a D on the final?
Your Honor, she just basically stated that after the midterm, we had broken it off, right? With my help, my extensive help, we got a B minus. She got a B minus on the midterm. Extensive help. We had been dating at that point, mind you. So after that, she gets a C on her final exam. She's a senior in English, in British literature, right? And then she gets a D on the paper. So without my help, she gets a C. When it's her senior year, she should already be probably flying through, or at least getting a solid D.
How do we know you didn't just get a D because you deserved a D?
Honestly, that whole situation that feels messy and unnecessary. It seems like the grade she received was simply the result of hard work, even if she doesn't agree with it. Sometimes in subjects like writing, grading can feel subjective, and not every paper is going to get a high score. From what it looks like, the relationship between them ended, and after that, everything became more complicated. But taking it to the court over a grade doesn't really make much sense, especially when there's no clear proof that the grade was unfair. At the end of the day, it likely came down to the quality of the paper. And again, this just highlights a bigger issue. When there's any kind of a personal relationship between a student and someone in the position of authority, like a professor or TA, it can create confusion, bias, and problems like this. That's why those boundaries are so important in the first place.
Well, I brought my final paper if you want to look at it.
I wouldn't know it's worth a D or not.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Well, let me see. Maybe I would know. Let me see. Okay, so this is the paper that you got a D on. Well, you want me to read this whole thing?
No, not necessarily.
All it just says is D. You know, there's nothing about, this doesn't make sense, non sequitur.
Your Honor,
there's nothing in the paper, nothing except a D. So how do I know why I got the D?
Within the basic concept, she couldn't identify. This is a final paper.
You should have written that stuff.
But that's okay. Regardless, it's still there. So
Okay,
she couldn't identify the concepts.
I'm ready to rule.
Okay.
He probably did give you a D because you left him. He probably did. But the problem is that you are saying that you felt you were sexually harassed, basically that he used his position of authority to get you to go out with him. But he didn't because you liked him.
Well, no,
From day one, you liked him. You were having a relationship with him. You didn't break up with him because he was who he was. You broke up with him because you wanted to be free after you talked to your friends. So, little girl, sometimes you have to pay for the mistakes you made in life. At some point, beauty fades. So you better start working on getting things in life based on your own efforts. And don't blame somebody else for your mistakes, because by bringing this lawsuit, you're blaming him for the mistake you made, which is you should not have slept with him. Now, what about the relationship? Is it over? We getting back together?
No.
That's it? Is it for you? Okay, is it for me too? Judgment for the defendant. Good luck to you.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
You can't take advantage of students like that.
Look, like, we're scarred, you know, had some bad blood, but, you know, I still love you. You know that. So.
In my opinion, I do think both sides were involved and it was consensual at the time. That's why I don't really understand why this situation ended up in the court. When it comes to grading in college, especially for subjects like writing, it can sometimes feel subjective. Like the professor is grading based on how they personally feel about the paper. Of course, in subjects like math or science, answers are clearly right or wrong, but in this case, it feels like the grade may have been influenced by personal feeling rather than just the work itself. Still, taking this to the court doesn't really make sense to me, especially if everything before that was mutual and agreed upon. At the same time, we also need to address the bigger issue here. Any kind of relationship between a student and someone in a position of power like professor, TA, or instructor is a serious conflict of interest. It creates unfair situations and it can easily be abused. So even if both people agree at the time, it's still not appropriate. In the end, I personally feel like the judgment was fair, but I would like to know what you think. Do you agree or do you see it differently? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.